Tobes, what's better, a blockbuster trade in the NBA or a blockbuster transfer in football?
Right.
For me,
I guess there's different layers to that, you know. On pure punch alone, I'll probably say a trade deadline, just because it
what
tends
trade
to come
at the
out.
trade deadline?
Yeah, an NBA like trade.
Okay,
because it tends to come out of nowhere. You've got your like Twitter detective savants, your Adrian Wojnarowski's, your Shams, and they may leak something, but it's normally leaked like a minute before the trade happens. So it does hit you in the face. I mean, James Harden destroyed us. Like, we had to do an emergency podcast because
it was during
just
the
came
pod.
out of nowhere. And we were like, what? Literally. Oh, no, it was during the pod.
It was during the pod.
Like,
it was during the pod. Yeah, you can see it on the IG.
So, and I remember like a lot of those like heavy hitters, even when Russell Westbrook went last, we were all like, what? It just comes out of left field. With like really big transfer windows, you're there watching transfer deadline. There you're watching the boys at each stadium, and they're kind of building you up, and you're hearing whispers kind of throughout the day, so you get an inkling of what's happening. So the kind of punch isn't there. But on the flip side, I do enjoy that build up. There's nothing greater than a long day of transfer deadline day, and it's getting to that last hour, and then you're expecting a madness. So pros and cons. I do like the NBA punch. I like the out of nowhere RKO.
Okay, so we don't have a fence in our house at the Hoop Call. You know NBA, the deal. Man, NBA. I will second that. For me, I want to hear the boys that we talk football think though.
Football all day long. There's no debate here.
Oh, again, oh my days!
Look, again, I'm an NBA guy. Like, I'm wearing a Sixers jacket right now. Like, I love the NBA, but football is a global game. When
you can't drop that more than once.
You have 30 teams in the NBA, and if a trade goes on between them, there's usually some trade where 4 nobodies are going to some other team, and someone else is going somewhere else, and someone's going somewhere else, and then you might get a star going to one team.
Okay.
When Cristiano Ronaldo goes to Real Madrid, the world cares about it. The world cares.
Okay.
When Kylian Mbappe is being lit, when Neymar goes to PSG, the world's going crazy. When Hazard goes to Real Madrid, the world goes crazy. Like, these are facts. Like, you can't, like, as much as I would say like transfer deadline days are quite underwhelming, and they have been for the last couple of years. Bro, I was losing my mind all month thinking Jadon Sancho was going to go to Man United. You know, like, that's craziness. You know, like.
All right. Okay. Quick.
Okay.
Come on.
So I would say that the question is kind of unfair because I think football transfers beat blockbuster trades, but I think NBA free agency beats transfers because like Jamie touched on, in the blockbuster trades, you get like a massive player going for maybe multiple picks or like role players. You very rarely see 2 huge players get traded to different teams. Whereas free agency, whether it be LeBron in 2010 with the decision, or you get KD joining the Warriors, the free agency where the players have the autonomy and the clubs have to, or the teams have to kind of put a pitch out for those big players, is what I enjoy more. These trades, like Karis LeVert, as great as a player he is, I don't really
wait. You're being unfair. It's selection bias. It's like saying you can't just pick a random one. It's like me saying, Alfie Mawson went to so-and-so. Oh, who cares about that? You can't be like, oh, well, Ronaldo goes there, but Karis LeVert goes there. No, that's not how it works. You're being unfair.
I love the fact you dropped the Alfie Mawson reference.
Like, you know what I mean? Okay, come on, let's be fair here. Listen. I've got to stand my ground here. I've got to back the Hoop Call here, because if you just think about it, honestly, open heart. When the thing about a trade is 2 things. Firstly, a trade is part of the bigger picture. That's what I like about it. Number one, like it's part of a plan. It's all a jigsaw piece that you have to put together to build your team. For me personally, obviously, you can see I'm a big football fan, but for me personally, when someone just drops 90 mil and buys a player, it's just like, whereas with a trade, the thing, and also the thing about the trade is because obviously it involves multiple parts, it sends more reverberations through the league. So you think, okay, so this player goes here for that reason. so that team can be better in this way, either now or in next year or the year after. And this player goes here, so this team can be good. So de facto, it just has greater reverberations going forward. It's a tactical move in and of itself. Trading, it's more engaging, it's more intriguing. Whereas if anyone can buy anything if you've got cash. So I just think you got to at least think, you got to at least say that makes sense. Surely you got to give me something there, boys.
It makes sense, but in my lifetime, I can tell you probably 3 or 4 trades that I've actually really cared about. That was
3 or 4.
KG when he went to Boston, when Al Jefferson went the other way. That's when I was loving ball. That's when I love ball. So KG went about a couple role players and some picks went the other way to Minnesota. Then you had the AD trade where you had Lonzo going the other way. You had Ingram. You had Josh Hart as well. That's a big trade that had reverberation around the league.
Yeah, but
obviously
bro, there's other big trades. And the thing is, Tobes, you'll back me on this, yeah? I think smaller trades are more interesting than small transfers. You know what I mean? They make more of a difference to the team, to the league than small transfers. You know what I mean? If you got a good team, you just need a piece and you get a JJ Redick or something. That can be a big thing in your team.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It's the mastery of the game. You have to understand the game. You have to. I love trades, man.
But there's a smaller like again. I keep coming back to it, but there's a smaller subset of players, you know, and there's a smaller amount of teams.
I agree, but you got to work with what you got.
Yeah, for sure. But that's discrediting. You know, when Leicester go and buy Riyad Mahrez for 500,000, like from a French second division team. There's small trades that happen in football that, you know, do benefit football teams, you know, but because I don't mean to say it again, but because it's a global sport, you know, there's more, you know what I'm saying? Whereas like, you know, NBA, you know, if you're in Boston, you might go, oh, I'll pick someone from Miami Heat because they're do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I agree. Also, when you talk about the reverberations as well, like you can't deny the reverberations that the Coutinho transfer to Barcelona caused in world football. Like
there weren't no reverberations. He was dead. He flopped. The cash went down the drain. What was the reverberation? Okay. Quick. You know what? Okay, fine. I'll challenge you with that then. Okay. You say that was major. Yeah. How wavy would it have been if it was the Coutinho trade, and Liverpool received like Rakitic, so and so, Alba, right? You'd be like,
let him expand.
To rebuild their team.
Inadvertently, it led to multiple teams around Europe making transfers. Like, expand, Quakes.
Coutinho going there meant that Liverpool had enough money to buy Virgil van Dijk, meaning that Liverpool go on to be the superpower that they are. It had reverberations at PSG as well in terms of Neymar at PSG. It changed the landscape of football as we know it as a result of one transfer. And like I understand in the NBA, it's direct correlation. You don't have to look beneath the surface.
Okay, now imagine that, yeah.
A direct trade.
Imagine that. But imagine that had to be the case for every transfer. You had to make a transfer with the knowledge of the reverberations that happens to the team where it comes and goes from. So imagine the excitement you had over Coutinho for most teams.
No, but I agree when it comes to free agency, because the gravitas of you go look at Cleveland being the best team in the East for 4 years straight, and then LeBron leaves and they're the worst team in the league. Like, I understand those reverberations, but in terms of the trade, it's always the case of a team wants a really, really good player.
Not always the case. That's what I'm saying. It's not always the case. Sometimes you run a rebuild and you need draft picks. Sometimes you just need a piece. Tobes, back me here. Come on, man.
But we're not talking Blockbuster though. It wasn't a Blockbuster.
Yeah, but then you started bringing up all sorts. Like, you started going at Karis LeVert.
We went into Riyad Mahrez.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So I had to come back.
Deep scouting reports, and you know what I mean?
Can we call it a draw? We call this one a draw.